Welcome to Defense Gazette. Today we present you that why the US has never invaded Iran, even they exceed its limits since 1978, and how the hypothetical war these two powers go and the result. Those countries have long's history of treads and rigorist, and both counties messing each other since Iran hostage crisis. The tension between two counties has risen its highest level after the assassination of Qasem Soleimani, and Iran replied aggressively by attacking US military bases in Iraq. The US response to Iranian attacks is so calm. No military action has taken. But why? There are 5 main reasons why US is still being silent. Those are: 1. Lack of access and geography problem. 2. Power of Iran army and air defenses. 3. Supply routes not in US favor. 4. Possible casualties. 5. Result of Millennium Challenge military drill. Let's go through one by one. Number 1, lack of access and geography. Unlike Iraq, Iran is not a flat terrain country, so US tactics on Iraq will not work in Iran. The geographic diversity of Iran would make a deadly result for any invader. Even the US Army mainly got 4 passages to enter Iran, none of them helped to escape the rural mountain terrains. So US troops might be stuck on narrow mountain passes on all sides. The units of the US Army will become an easy target of Iranian ambushes once they stuck. Also, all mountain ranges are too long to cross rapidly, especially for military hardware. Doing war without tanks never possible. US has dark experience of war in Vietnam, which makes shameful defeat due to Vietnam guerrillas who used geographic diversity as a shield. In other side, 80% of Iran's major cities are located in beyond those mountain ranges, so the USA cannot achieve its military goals without passing those deadly mountains. But if the US decides to invade, they got 4 main passages to enter Iran. First passage from Iraq. According to the current geopolitical trend, Iraq will not allow the US to use its land to invade Iran. Even the US start to use Iraq as a corridor to Iran by forcing Iraq. Then the USA might have to deal with 2 main fronts, one from Iraqi popular militia unit who loyal to Iran, and in the other side form the Iran army. US troops will suffer from more casualties while they trying to protect their supply routes over Iraq. Second passage from Turkey. Recently Turkish-US relations have damaged over Turkish S-400 deal with Russia, so Turkey may not allow hosting a large number of US troops in its countryside. US troops have to move over difficult mountain terrain, even Turkey agree with it. This region's mountains of the Tabriz that are between 2,000 and 5,000 meters high and have a topographic prominence of at least 500 meters. So large-scale military approach will not take place from this direction. Third passage from Afghanistan. US troops already deployed in Afghanistan, and those units can be deployed along the Iran-Afghan border easily, but it might increase terrorist activities inside of Afghanistan by releasing its troops from Afghanistan, which might affect US supply routes over Afghanistan. So US needs to keep some additional troops in Afghanistan. If the US starts to enter Iran from eastern Iran, it got that same rural and hard mountain terrain as in other parts of Iran where can be stuck US troops. But this passage is some better option after the Iraq corridor. Fourth passage from sea. Iran rich with deadly anti-ship missiles along its coastal line, and the most important control of Strait of Hormuz as well, where is the gate to enter the entire Middle East. So amphibious landing beyond Hormuz will not work. But the US still got some coastal line near to Gulf of Oman. US troops have to face for a deadly anti-ship missile Iranian side. In this scenario has been tested in Millennium Challenge as a simulator in 2002, where America lost 25 ships and 40,000 Marines. This amphibious landing will not take place until Iran get paralyzes in other sectors. Power of Iran army and air defenses. There is no doubt that US Army in far ahead than Iran in military technology as well as air power. US very good in its air power and naval power, but the problem, the countermeasures of Iran is almost gone parallel to it. When we consider the manpower, US cannot deploy its entire army to the Middle East, even US deploys 50% of its resources, it never exceeds 600,000 soldiers. On other side, Iran only rich with 420,000 regular army, but the problem for USA is the huge population of Iran. It is near 90 million, which can gather 5 million of army within a week. But they cannot fight as like a regular well-trained army, but once they have the advantage in the field and having a big army more than 8 times comparing to US army. It might be an important point to think. Iran has 2,000 air defense batteries installed in countrywide and 3,500 anti-ship missile batteries along its coastal lines. So US Air Force bombers and its missiles have to spend its whole cost to take the situation in USA favor. Number 3. Supply routes not in US favor. Iran will never get closed supply route from Russia over the Caspian Sea. The Caspian Sea is fully dominated by Russia and it has no access from outside world if Russia blocks its entry points from Rostov. So Iran has a remarkable advantage over the Caspian Sea. There is no way to block this route in early stages of war by conquering coastlines around it. So if America needs to block supplies from Caspian Sea, they should have to use missiles or air power, but going over enter Iran land to hit its harbors. Simple doesn't work and might increase casualties of US Air Force formed twice. Also in other side, US must use Saudi Arabia as a supply base for its armies, but bases of the American army in the strike range of Houthis who funded by Iran. Also Houthis have already launched a successful attack against Saudi targets since 2017. So the US have to keep special attention about it as well. Number 5, possible casualties. This is the worst point for US High Command and its leadership. Will Iran become another Vietnam? Iran and Vietnam both have similarities, especially advantage of land, huge manpower and never-ending supply routes from its allies. USA lost 60,000 troops and 400,000 Americans were get wounded during the Vietnam War. Also, 10,000 aircraft and 5,000 military hardware lost. Even US is technically more advanced than North Vietnam during the 70s, technology doesn't help to decrease war casualties. Only option the got is to withdrawing troops without achieving its military goals to avoid the losses. If the US invades Iran without nukes, US will lose nearly 100,000 troops, 500 aircraft, and 50 ships only in the first half of the war. When it considers the geography of Iran, US will never able to hold 100% land area of Iran. There might have an uprising and long-term guerrilla war like in Vietnam. Iran is a paradise for guerrillas, so it would be encased US casualties more and more. Number 4. Result of the Millennium Challenge military drill. The Pentagon has run a war game which simulates the war with Iran and the US lost heavily. Millennium Challenge 2002 is a $235 million military exercise that involved elements of all of the US armed forces, with over 20,000 personnel engaging in the most realistic war game which was held up until that time. There are two teams. Blue team represented the USA as an attacker and the red team as Iran, the defender. As soon as blue force deploy in strike range simulated Iran, the red team went on the offensive. The red force decimated US naval assault and amphibious team within 15 minutes by using Iranian tactics. 19 ships including 1 aircraft carriers, 5 amphibious assault ships were sunk and approximately 20,000 Marines died. Red forces use a barrage of 100 of land-based missiles, 100 of suicide boats to defeat combine attack the carrier groups and amphibious ready groups. The result of the exercise makes away the US High Command for any future attack against Iran. So if US decided to invade Iran, US will do some nukes on Iran like they did Japan in 1945. But having such a ruthless action will make some serious diplomatic issues, so the possibly USA won't have such a risk. If the USA decides to invade Iran under no nuke condition, it would be a deadly war for both sides, the even us able to a large part of Iran. It will make some serious unrecoverable damage for both US military and economy as well. So that's why the US stay away from such war. So US might think to have other solutions such as regime changes or creating political unrest in Iran rather than going a risky war. So what do you think about this situation? Let us know in the comments section. Hope to see you again with another video. Until then, goodbye. Don't forget to like and subscribe.